What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be giving you 10 drills to be a better wide receiver. So all of these drills are going to work on your route running, your press releases, and your catching ability, which are all essential at the wide receiver position. Now for this first drill, fellas, you just need 5 cones and space each one of these cones about maybe like a yard or a half a yard apart. And this is going to be working on something called our stick as a wide receiver. So this helps us at the top of the route where you have to cut off of 1 foot. So let's say, for example, a 3-step slant. 1, 2, 3, planting off of this outside foot. It's a hard, sudden step in the ground, and then you push off. And it also helps if I'm in like a press situation where I have a DB who's in front of me and I want to throw a move to the outside to get him to jump. So we're going to be doing 3 sets of this drill on each leg. So 3 sets where you're on this side working on the left leg, and then 3 sets where you're working on the right leg. And for each one of these drills, you guys, we're going to give the exact sets and reps to do, and we're going to show a full speed example of each one. So all we're going to do, you're going to have a slight lean forward. Make sure your head is slightly ahead of your hips, not a lot, but slightly. And your hands and your feet are going to be working, and you're just going to jab. Then you come back, jab. And then you come back, and you're going to work that all the way down this cone, like I guess you could say line. And the goal is to make sure that your hip is attached to your foot and the cut is super sudden. So when you throw this cut, your hip's got to go with the foot. And the reason why you do this is because when a DB's in press coverage, he's watching our hips. So this helps us sell more with my hips. So we're going to show you how this should look full speed. Make sure when you do this as well, your toes don't open up, as then you're not going to be able to push and get out of the break. Keep your toes forward and make sure you can push off of that inside arch. Now we're going to show you how this should look full speed. Now, this second drill, fellas, is going to be called our stick and slide drill. So it's going to be working on that same stick that the last drill worked on, but it's also going to be working on an element of the wide receiver position called like a slide release. So let's say, for example, I'm lined up here. Let's say that orange cone is like a DB who's inside shade press. If I have that look, I want to close the space with the DB and then give my move and get up into the route. So being able to slide to him is a great way to close the distance, but change up the tempo to kind of keep him on his toes. So it works on that element as well as body control. So you need 2 cones, space it out probably about 3 yards away. And with these 2 cones, you want to pretend there's an imaginary white line going through the 2 of them. If you're on an actual football field, you could set up these 2 cones on a white line so you could get more out of the drill. But essentially what you're going to do is your hands and your feet are going to be working. You're going to jab, come back out, push off of the right foot, slide to the opposite side. Then you're going to jab with the right foot and burst up into like almost a fade route, or at least accelerate up. If you don't have a quarterback throwing you the ball, that is totally fine, but work on bursting up field after the second cut. Now, what we want to do, guys, we want to work 4 sets on each side. So 4 sets where you go jab left, slide, jab right, and then 4 sets where you go jab right, slide, jab left. So we're going to show you how this drill should look full speed. Great drill to work on your slide release and that stick and body control, which is what you need as a receiver. Now, fellas, before we show that drill full speed, if you are a wide receiver watching this and you would like a 2-month-long workout schedule that you can follow, check out that very first link in the description below for our elite wide receiver training package. What you'll get access to is 2 months of daily gym workouts for wide receivers and on-field workouts for wide receivers. So think about all the drills that we're going to show you in this video. We're making all of those into a specific plan for you to follow. And there's a lot more drills. It's probably close to like 100 different drills within the plan, but we give you the exact sets and reps for gym exercises and field drills, and we give you a video example of each drill and gym exercise so you know how to perform it. So guys, if you want to take your receiver skills to the next level, go to that very first link in that description below. Let's get back to this video. Now this next drill, fellas, is going to be called our kneeling drive drill. So this helps with you getting more speed in and out of your cuts as a wide receiver. So we're going to use like an out route, for example. So let's say this orange cone is where I have to cut. Let's say the quarterback's to my left and I have to run an out route, right? So I'd be cutting off of my left foot. And when I cut off of this left foot, I don't want to just cut to cut. I don't want to just cut and then pop up and look for the ball and then run out of the break. I want to use my cut to shoot me out of the break. And how we do that is by pushing off of the inside arch of your cut foot. So whenever you cut, you want to be on the ball of your foot, but your weight should be on that middle arch. So when you cut, you push. So you take that speed that you had into the break and the explosion that you created with your cut and turn that into acceleration so you could widen yourself from the DB and get to the spot the quarterback expects us to get to. So that's what this drill works on. So this is a single leg exercise. You're going to be doing 6 reps on the left leg and then 6 reps on the right leg. So you're going to be just kneeling down, perfect 90-degree angle with the front foot, 90-degree angle with the back foot. Try to stand up tall tall. All you're gonna do is you need a cone to make your front foot even with, and all you're gonna do is you're gonna jab left of the cone and push off. So it's just gonna be here, jab, push. And when you push, you're opening up your hips, and you're going to accelerate full speed for, I would say, anywhere from 5 to 10 yards. So you're doing 6 reps of that on your left foot, 6 reps on your right foot to work on your speed in and out of your breaks. So we're gonna show you how that should look, full speed. So fellas, this next drill kind of builds off of the last kneeling drive drill that we did. So what you need is a series of 4 cones. So starting point, cut 1, cut 2, and cut 3. So 4 cones total, and each one of these cones should be about 5 yards apart. So what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be working on that 90-degree cut like an out route or a dig route, but now we're running full speed. So we're thinking about what we just did on that last kneeling drive drill. You're trying to push off of each specific cut. So this drill is going to be based off of steps. So it's gonna be 2 steps, 3 steps, 3 steps. On the second step, that's when you're gonna be cutting. On the third step, that's when you're gonna be cutting. Then on the third step again, that's when you'll be cutting. We're gonna walk through it and then show it full speed. So you wanna do this for 4 sets each side. So 4 sets where you're going towards the right, then 4 sets where you would flip the cones. That orange cone would be on that side, that orange cone would be on that side, and you go the opposite way. So it's 2 steps. You're gonna be in a receiver stance, set, go. It's coming out. 1, 2. That's the hard cut. We're trying to push off of this foot just like the last drill. We push 1, 2, 3. That's the cut. Push off 1, 2, 3. Coming out. Out route right here. If you have a quarterback, have him throw you a ball after that last cut. Don't have a quarterback? No problem. Just make sure you accelerate out of the break as fast as we can. So guys, this is a great drill to work on that stick cut at a 90-degree angle and pushing in and out of my breaks to get me from cone to cone. Very important on this drill. You don't reach for the cone, guys. This entire drill should be done with your eyes up. Think of the cones as a guideline for your hips to be facing towards. Now this next drill, fellas, is going to be our 45-degree stick zigzag drill. So it is very, very similar to the last drill that we did where we were cutting on a 90. Now we're cutting on a 45-degree angle. So you're still cutting off of one foot, you're still pushing. This drill is still going to be off of steps. Now it's just a different angle. So this helps us with our slant routes, our post routes, our corner routes, and that sudden stick that we need. So you're going to start out right here. We need a series of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cones. You're going to be cutting 4 separate times. Then you obviously need a starting point cone. Your right foot's going to be up on this. You could obviously switch sides, but you're working 2 cuts on the left foot and the right foot, so it's really the same deal. I just recommend doing 6 reps total. You can go 3 and 3 or 6 reps total. If you're catching from a quarterback, I would say 3 and 3 where you're breaking the opposite way, just so you work on catching both angles, okay? So we're starting out here, set, go. It's 1, 2, 3. On the third step, that's when we cut. And again, we push off, open up my hips. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 right here, coming out. And if you don't have a quarterback, just make sure that you accelerate full speed and accelerate out of the break. So this is a great drill to work on your 45-degree cuts. 6 sets of this total. We're gonna show you how this should look full speed. Remember these cones, guys, they're at a 45-degree angle, but I would say each cone is probably about 5 yards apart. So this next drill, fellas, is going to be called red light, green light. Yes, it's like the childhood game, and I'm sure all of you have played, but this drill works on you guys using your hips to be able to slow you down on routes. So let's think about routes like curls, comebacks, 5-yard hitch, sometimes a 10-yard in or a dig. You have to drop your hips to be able to decelerate. Let's say I'm running a comeback. Quarterback's to my left, I'm breaking this way on my comeback. When I drop down or when I snap down, I got to be violent, I got to be aggressive, my chin's going to my knee. I'm trying to get to a 90-degree position as violently as I can so I can stop myself. What a lot of guys do, though, the mistake that they make is they'll be running up into the break and they start using their feet to slow down and then they drop their hips. Your break is incredibly slow like that. So this drill gets us comfortable using my hips to be able to make me slow down, and we're not running any routes off of it. We are literally just running and stopping, starting and stopping. So you need a start point cone, which is this orange cone. I recommend having a partner for this drill. This is probably one of the only drills that you need a partner to get the full benefit out of. But what you're going to do is you're going to start out with that orange cone and you're going to take off full speed. Maybe not full speed where you're out of control, but I'd say like 95%, right? And you're running as if we are going to the opposite end of the field as fast as we can. Say I'm on a 100-yard turf field, I'm starting out at the goal line, I'm running to the opposite goal line as hard as I can. So we're take off running. Then your partner is going to yell drop. That's similar to the red light call when you're playing red light, green light. When he yells drop, your hips drop you down, and your feet follow. I don't care how many steps you take. I just need the hip drop to be what slows you down. So it isolates the movement. You're not worried about getting a ball. You're not worried about foot placement. You're just worried about stopping, and stopping correctly by using your hips. So we're gonna show you how this should look full speed. I recommend doing 6 sets of this drill, and you kind of need a partner to get the full benefit out of this one. Now this next drill, fellas, is gonna be our 3-cone hip drop drill, okay? So this is essentially trying to put everything together that we just worked on in that red light, green light drill. You're getting comfortable with your hips being able to slow you down, but now we're worried about getting out of the break, and we're gonna be working a 90-degree cut like a dig. So each one of these cones, you got your starting point cone, you got your first break, and we'll explain what that means in a second. Then you got your second break, which has 6 cones in like a lane down that 90 degrees. I call it an energy lane because you're trying to accelerate through that lane as fast as possible. But each one of these cone like sections is 5 yards apart. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna start on a receiver stance. I wanna work 4 of these each way. So 4 where your right foot's up and you're breaking to the right, 4 where your left foot's up and that energy lane is going the opposite way and you're breaking to your left. But essentially think of this like a stutter go. Like you're accelerating, dropping, and then re-accelerating. So it's just working on you guys getting comfortable with the right type of hip drop to slow you down. Think of this first cut like a practice swing in like golf. In golf, you don't just walk up to the ball and then hit it, because less likely you're probably not gonna have the greatest shot. You take a practice swing, you work on your form, and you're more likely to hit a better shot when you come up to the ball and it actually matters. That's what this drill is kind of trying to do. It's to build that stimulus of how your hips should actually drop. So your right foot's gonna be up, set, go, full speed to the first cone. So at this first cone, drop, then we re-accelerate, and it's the same exact drop, just now I'm trying to flip my belly button out of the brake and get down this energy lane. So I get up to the brake, I drop, flip my hips around, accelerate through all the way to the end of these cones, pretend there's a finish line through the end of these cones, and then if you have a quarterback, have them give you a ball. If you don't have a quarterback, totally fine, just make sure you're running out full speed. So we're gonna show you how this drill should look, full speed. Now this next drill, fellas, is gonna be called our hurdle crossover drill to work on a wide receiver closing space with a DB who's maybe like 3 yards away. So like all you need really is 2 hurdles that are set up about 5 yards apart. So you got your starting point cone, which is like the line of scrimmage. You got your first hurdle, which is about 5, and then the second hurdle, which is at about 5. And we're gonna be working a crossover move. Now let's talk about a situation here. Like let's say you have to run like a 10 to 12 yard in. You have a DB who's 5 yards away. We can't just try to run around him because he's gonna get hands and reroute me, and that's his entire goal when he's playing this type of coverage. What I have to do is I got to close the space with him, and let's say I want to take an inside release, give him a move and then take the inside release so I could get space from him, which leads to separation. That's what route running is about. So we're going to be working just a simple crossover move like a double stick. You remember that first drill that we did where we were jabbing? It's like a 1-2 of those, if you will. So we're going to be doing, your right foot's going to be up on this. We're going to be doing an inside release, then an outside release. So anytime you're doing a crossover, you want to step in the direction that you are going first. So if I'm trying to go inside, what foot do I step with first? Inside foot, because it's a 1-2. We're trying to fake the opposite of where we're going. And think of it like basketball, right? So set, go, we come off. All it is just going to be a right, left. Our goal is to try to get as skinny and squeeze past this hurdle as soon as possible so I could square up the next hurdle. So it's bam, bam, get skinny, squeeze, bam, bam, get skinny, squeeze, and accelerate up and burst up. I would say probably like 5 or 6 yards after the second crossover. So it's a great drill to get us in that rhythm of crossing over at like a second level or secondary release, if you will. So I recommend doing, I would say 5 sets where your right foot's up and you go inside, 5 sets where your left foot's up and then your inside would be left, right, and then you would go right, left. So we're gonna show you how this should look, full speed. Now this next drill, fellas, is gonna be working on your split release as a wide receiver. So what's a split release? A split release is great versus like a head up press coverage DB who's right in front of us. And a split release is where your front foot in your stance goes out and your back foot goes straight up and you come to balance. It's great versus head up press because a DB has one of 3 options in head up press. Jump to the inside, stay where he's at, or jump to the outside. But because you come to balance, you're ready for any of those. If he stays head up and let's say you want to release outside, you give a little move, go outside. He shades to the outside and I want want to go outside. I split, he shades. I could just react and go the opposite way because my feet are balanced. But the thing about that split release, and this is what this drill works on, you need some twitch to it. A lot of guys do it and they're very slow. That's not going to threaten a DB. You want to kind of put him on alert because he's expecting you to go forward or make a move, not your feet to split. So that split can throw him off if there's a right amount of twitch to it. So this is going to be our split reset drill. So all you're going to do, it's going to be here, starting point cone. You're just going to go like this, set, go, both feet hit, back to my stance. Second one, both feet hit, and then you release, and it happens fast. The split back to reset is very quick twitch. So what I recommend doing is probably 5 sets of this where your left foot is up, and then 5 sets of this where your right foot is up. You could release either way. You could go split, come back, split outside release. You could go split, come back, split inside release. Just make sure you're working both ways where you're pushing off the right foot and pushing off the left foot. Maybe go 5 where you release off the right foot inside, and then 5 where you release off the left foot and go the opposite way. Because when you split, it's really all the same. So we're going to show you how this drill should look full speed. Great drill to make sure your split release is crisp and has some twitch to it. Now fellas, this next drill is going to be called our restack drill. So you could honestly work this drill with any press release that you like. It's just working on us dipping my shoulder to get skinny past the DB. Anytime that we have press coverage, like let's say I have a DB who's lined up where that blue cone is, and let's say I got to run like a 10-yard corner. He's outside leverage. I'm not going to just release to the outside. What I would do is I would attack his leverage, and my goal is to get my hip right past his so I could restack him, which means he is running directly behind me. So when I get to 10 yards, maybe I give him a fake inside, get him to bite, and then I got all this space to the sideline. So my goal is to restack. So this towel helps us with that. So you need 3 cones set up in the pattern of the release that you are doing. So if I'm trying to do an inside release, I want my cone here where I'm working the release, a cone right next to it, cone right next to it to keep me on that tight path to allow me to restack. And you want to put a towel on the ground. You could also do this with like a taller cone. I do that sometimes with receivers as well. Put it right in between your release cone and the get skinny cone, okay? So all we're gonna do is we're gonna work a release. I'm gonna be working a release called a wide step, which is essentially a jab step with your back foot. Quarterback's over there, so it's set, go, you do the move, right away you dip with the shoulder closest to the cones, pick up the towel to get us comfortable getting skinny to restack over the top of the DB. So we're gonna show you how this should look full speed. I recommend doing 5 sets of this each way. So if I was doing this release, we would do 5 sets the opposite way where I go with my left foot and I dip and I try to grab with my left hand. So we're gonna show you how this should look full speed. Great drill to work on restacking and getting skinny after a press release.